Good morning to one and all. Myself, Mr. Columbia Chetan. I'm pursuing MTech from VIT University, and I would like to present on presentation on revisiting English theory based on finite element method. One of my partner is Mr. Abdul Kashif. He will join me later on. So the background of this presentation deals with the calculation of the SF under the influence of the various parameters such as crack size, its orientation, and its location. But to understand the crack theory, it is necessary to understand the stress intensity factor. So the stress intensity factor is one of the basic concept which was evolved in the early development of the fracture mechanics. As the study progresses in fracture mechanics, later on it was came to know that stress concentration factor is one of the cause for the stress intensity factor. So fracture mechanics treats crack as a discontinuity, which is more related to the stress concentration. So our project, though our project deals with the SIF calculation, but we are approaching towards the SIF from the SCF concept. So in universe there is no type of material which can sustain the maximum load. So it cannot sustain the maximum load. So if the strength is less, then the failure will occur. Then strength is a criteria which depends on the many properties of the material and the many parameters such as in which the flaw is one of them. So working on the various experiments, Leonardo da Vinci, one of the first scientists who concluded that the flaw is an ultimate reason for the fracture failure. Studying the stress analysis in the region of the flaw is the main objective to calculate the stress concentration factor, which is reason for the failure. So working on the same track, another scientist, English, has given a mathematical model for to calculate the stress concentration factor. He believed that a crack is in a flat elliptical hole, to analyze this elliptical hole, he began his analysis from the circular discontinuity and then collapsing the circular discontinuity into the ellipse. So his analysis begins with the circular hole and then compressing it to form an ellipse. Now this is a infinite plate dimension in which the elliptical hole is in a discontinuity. By applying the uniaxial load on both the sides, he arrives to the equation that sigma A is equal to sigma in bracket 1 plus 2 under root A by rho, in which rho is the ratio of the two-dimensional quantities of the discontinuity present in the material. That is, rho is equal to b square upon a. And if we if we add a is equal to b, then we will get the stress induced at point A for the circular discontinuity. So stress concentration factor is nothing but the stress induced at point A divided by the applied stress, which is a function of the dimensions of the discontinuities. So though English started his work considering the circular discontinuity in the rectangular bed, we tried this problem to solve in ANSYS, and we ended up with the solution that the maximum stress location is obtained along the horizontal axis of the discontinuity. That is why English was interested to calculate the stress at point A. Now this first two figures gives only the problem and its solution, but to solve this problem in ANSYS we required the meshing, and our more area of interest is to calculate the stress at the horizontal axis. So for basic requirement, for basic meshing size, we obtained this maximum sigma y as 18.78 MPa. Now the area, now we have to concentrate around the vicinity of the circular hole. but since the circular hole is a part of the rectangular plate, we cannot change the size. We are able to change the size, but that will not affect the circular region. So our requirement is to get the maximum stress around the circle. So we are instead of making a circular hole into the rectangular plate, we are creating a circular ring, so that we will get the two separate areas for fine mesh. Here this is the fine mesh and this is the coarse mesh. These two mesh are in our hand, so that we can do it in final manner. Now later on he will explain.
Good afternoon to all. My name is Atul Kashif. Now we are in the previous slides we have seen that in the vicinity of this circle we require the fine mesh, so that we have to model the ring. Also we are going to compress the circle into an ellipse. So accordingly modeling has been done. In this flowchart we can see that we have first modeled the circle, which is 1.5 times the original radius. Original radius was 10 mm. We have modeled it 15 mm. And after that, using the AR scale command, we have converted that circle into an ellipse. What does this AR scale command do is it scales along the y-axis or x-axis. We have scaled along the y-axis and converted into ellipse. The next procedure is using the ASBA command, which is used to subtract the area from the other area. Here you can see the color coding, means pink color and green color. These are two different areas. After subtracting that ellipse, we get only one area. So in this slide, our aim is to model the ellipse, ring. Again we have drawn a ring with inner radius and outer radius. You can see the dotted lines, the area which was first subtracted. Then this ring is converted again into the ellipse using the same AR scale command. And at the end, we have used one command called gluing, which glues the one area to the other area. So the advantage of that command is that we can mesh separately the both areas. As we required meshing for the inner ring, fine mesh we required for the inner ring, so we can mesh accordingly. So in FE, what results we get? The results are the approximations. In this graph, we can see two sides. One is the conservative side, and the other is the risk side. We want the values of our result always along the conservative side. If you go along the risk side, then your model may fail. So all values should be on the conservative side. During the e-refine command, when we are refining the inner ring, we always used to enter the e-refine command in the text file, and we have to run again and again. So we have developed one program for that, where C is the number of refinement for the inner ring. If you give C equals to 0, then it will go to the decision box. It will check C is equal to 0. If it is yes, then it will exit. If you want C equals to 1, which is shown here, this is for C equals to 1 refinement. When we enter C equals to 1, it will check in the decision box. Is C equals to 1? It is not equal to 0. Then it will go down. This is I equals to 1. This will refine one time. One refinement will be done. Then it will calculate again the I value. I is given here 1, 1 plus 1, 2. Then again it will check here, is I is greater than C. Our C was 1 and I is 2. 2 is greater than C. So if it is true, then again the cycle will continue. In this way, the requirement what you want, you can get from this. Now we are getting, we have done 4 to 5 analysis. From that, how to find the peak value of the stress. There are two methods. One is the genuine peak plot. In this, what happens, for one analysis, we will get some stress value. In this way we will get like 4 to 5 stress values. How to find the peak value from that? Here we can see the graph is increasing, and again at a point it goes on decreasing. So this point is called the genuine peak. So we can take that peak as a final value. Now this all the time we cannot get the genuine peak. Sometimes we have to go for the predicted peak, but in our project we have hardly found any genuine peak. So if we don't get the genuine peak, then we go to the predicted peak. What happens in this? Your stress value goes on increasing, it is not decreasing. So we cannot get the genuine peak. So we have to predict the value. These are the values of the stress. What we can do in the predicted peak, we will find a difference of this to this. So difference is there. Now we will see what is the trend of decreasing this value. It is decreasing by approximately, we can say it is decreasing one half. So at the end we will divide this by the last value is 1 by 4. So we can predict that the next value will be decreasing by 1 by 4. So we will divide this by 1 by 4 till we get 1 because we require 3 decimals there. So at the end we have to add all that value and add in this final stress value. What will be the addition that we have to add this in final value? That will be our predicted peak. In this case it is 39.544 that we have predicted. Now you have seen how to find stress concentration factor theoretically using ANSYS. We have plot this contour plot for stress. You can see near the discontinuity you are getting the maximum stresses. So this is the formula for calculating the stress concentration factor, sigma y max, which is this value in the y direction. Sigma y max divided by sigma applied means what stress we have applied. That was 5 MPa in our case. So 18.8 we are getting here maximum stress as 18.8 divided by 5. We are getting stress concentration factor as 3.76. But accordingly, stress concentration factor for circle is 3. We are getting a difference in ANSYS and theoretical. In ANSYS, we are getting more than the theoretical value. That will be explained by my colleague Chetan.
There was almost 400 analysis. To do this 400 analysis, we have a source of 6 engineers, and the time span was of 14 days. So including this, we have done a teamwork. Coming to results, our main aim was to calculate to have a comparison between the SCF for theoretically and for ANSYS value. Since this table shows that how when when ratio is 1, that is for circular hole, ANSYS SCF was 3.76 and theoretical it was 3. But as we are moving from a circular hole to the flat elliptical hole, which is nothing but a crack, almost it is similar to the crack, then SCF is tremendously almost 30 times greater for flat elliptical hole, and theoretical value is also almost 30 times greater. That is for circular hole it is 3.76, and it is flat elliptical hole it was 110.83. So the conclusion from this table is that as we are approaching towards the flat elliptical hole, the stress induced at the discontinuity is maximum, and this maximum value has influence on the ANSYS SCF. So almost 30 times it is greater than, means we are approaching from circular discontinuity to the crack. This is the graph showing how it is rising. As we are approaching towards 0, 0, 0, the stress SCF is increasing. Actually, why there is a difference between the ANSYS SCF and theoretical SCF? Although SCF is a ratio of the two stress values, that's why the theoretical stress value we consider as an engineering stress. In this engineering stress, the applied load by the area. while the ANSYS calculate the true stress by considering the instantaneous area. That's why it is a that's why there is a difference in ANSYS values and theoretical values for both SCF and stress. Now estimated value of sigma y. For ratio 0 to 1, we estimated, we plotted a graph and we obtained this trend, that is y is equal to something equation. When we are approaching towards the 0, we estimated the sigma y as 576.1. This was for the ratio 0 to 1. Continuously decreasing and approaching towards the 0 to 0.1, the estimated sigma y also increases tremendously. It is 3859.7 MPa. It shows that as we are collapsing the circle slowly, the stress in y direction is also increases. Which is the further slide will explain that.
Now we have plotted the graph of the ratio versus estimated stress in the y direction. Here we can see for the big ratio ratio we can get the estimated value. For 0 to 1 there is some estimated. How we have calculated this? We have plotted this graph. This is the equation of this graph. If we put x equals to 0, then we can get value something which is 12360, which is the we can say that we are moving towards the singularity, which is nothing but the stress, infinite stress. But we cannot say that that is the final value, because there may be an upper limit to it. Hence we can say that we have reached the stress singularity and our work is correlating with the English critic. This is the future work. We can model the 2D crack and do the SF calculations. We can also model the 2D inclined crack. We can change the orientation of the crack and do the SF calculations. In the same manner, we can work with the 3D crack and the 3D inclined crack. We can also introduce the crack tip plasticity. Now this project, what we are doing is the linear, but including the plasticity, it goes into the non-linear, which the non-linearity is due to the material non-linearity, because plasticity is coming into it.